So today we have Father Oliver with us, who's going to give us some idea about what is a monk.
It is difficult to define a monk. First of all, there are different orders of monks, all of whom have the fundamental aim of seeking God. The ancient Egyptian monks who fled the cities and found God in the desert. The early followers of St. Benedict who sought him out as a spiritual father and persuaded him to write a rule for them. The Irish monks who lived in the harshest of conditions on the Atlantic coast, some of whom devoted their whole lives to pilgrimage, seeking out the place where they were destined to die, and evangelizing much of Europe as they did so. The followers of St. Bernard, who thought that Benedict's disciples had taken the wrong path and needed reform. The Carthusians, who have kept so closely to their founders' teachings that they have never had to be reformed. But even in the Benedictine tradition, one monastery can be very different from another. And I would go further and say there are as many definitions of a monk as there are members of my community. Each one of us can be called a monk. Each one wears the same habit, follows the same rule, attends the same times of prayer in church, eats in the same refectory, works in the same school or parish or guest house or workshop, obeys the same abbot, and in the end, each will end up buried in the same cemetery. And yet each is still an individual. In fact, the original meaning of monachos is one who lives alone. God calls many different types of people to be monks and nuns, all of them vowing to follow Christ in this particular way of life, and yet they do not lose their individuality, their unique way of showing forth the image of God. To be more specific, the Benedictine monk or nun is someone who has taken vows: obedience, stability, and a third vow which is difficult to translate, and so we keep it in the original Latin, conversatio morum. Obedience is perhaps the easiest to understand, but also perhaps the hardest to follow. To give up the direction of my life, to put aside my individual dreams and projects, and to agree to follow decisions made by others, either the abbot or the community. To believe that the will of God for me can be heard through the voices of others. Stability is the vow which means that I have joined a particular Benedictine community, not so much that I have decided to choose a way of life lived by thousands of other monks all over the world, but that I am committing myself to this group of monks, and in most cases to this particular place. Monks believe in the importance of being rooted in a tradition, in a family with its own history, and even in a set of buildings. The Latin form of the words conversatio morum suggests a process rather than an event. Conversatio rather than conversio. Not that I made a commitment 20 years ago and immediately became something different, but that I start every day with a determination to turn again to the Lord, to listen to his word, and to become a monk, and to do this in the company and fellowship of others who are also trying to be monks.
Thank you, Father Oliver. I'm sure that will raise lots of other questions which people can ask us via our website www.downsideabbey.co.uk or else on our Facebook or Twitter pages.